Now, the chief of the UN's Atomic Energy Agency is heading to Iran, Rafael Grossi, in the Islamic Republic for talks on the country's nuclear program. He's called for more monitoring at Iran's nuclear sites and is appealing to the Iranian leadership to resolve long standing issues with the IAEA. Now, for more on this story, we can bring in Sina Azodi, Professor of International Affairs at George Washington University. Thank you so much for joining us on the program today. Now, Grossi is heading to Iran at a time when Donald Trump's return is inevitable. Is there an expectation that the president elect will continue with his policies of maximum pressure when it comes to Iran?
Well, there's a very good chance that he would initially restore the so-called maximum pressure campaign. That pressure never went away, but the Biden administration kind of seized the enforcement of some of the sanctions, including Iran's oil exports. That Iran currently exports a lot of oil to China. So I think. And we should expect that when Donald Trump comes in, he will resume that. He will try to cut off Iran's oil exports to China. But I also think that he's interested in having his own deal with Iranians. He has said it repeatedly. And in fact, the reason that he left the JCPOA was that he said Iranians would come back and they would beg for a better deal with me, which didn't happen. So I think we should expect that. I think he would try to get a new deal with Iranians, but that's yet to be seen.
But given that Iran has firstly a change of leadership since Donald Trump was in office, this new leadership is desperate to engage with the West. It's desperate for sanctions relief. Could Iran go, do you think, to the table with the Trump administration, given that Iran's foreign minister today said back channels do exist with Washington?
Well, back channels have always existed between Tehran and Washington. They never went away. But I think that the new administration in Tehran is genuinely interested in some sort of a deal with the United States because of the economic situation in Iran, and they understand that without the lifting of sanctions, they cannot improve the economy's situation. The people that the Pezeshkian administration has brought on board with him, they've already been involved with the negotiations of JCPOA. His strategic advisor, who was the former foreign minister of Iran, is one of the architects of JCPOA. And the current foreign minister, Abbas Araqchi, was one of the nuclear negotiators. So I think he has the right people in place. I think we have to wait for a more explicit green light from Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei. And I think there is a good chance that in the next few years we see some sort of deal between the Trump administration and Pezeshkian administration.
Now, Sina, also since Donald Trump has been out of office, we've seen a shift in the landscape of the Middle East as well. We have Iran's former arch rival now sort of has this cold sort of relationship with Iran. And I'm talking about Saudi Arabia, of course, that rapprochement was brokered by China. So clearly, they also would want to see sort of an engagement with Iran, wouldn't they?
Oh, absolutely. When you look at the relationship between Riyadh and Tehran, it's just a few years ago, it was impossible to imagine this, that, the vice president of Iran would go to Riyadh. They would shake hands with Mohammed bin Salman. I think the relationship has changed very much. The fundamental issues between Tehran and Riyadh, which is mainly this geopolitical rivalry, has not withered away. It is still there. But the good news is that they're talking, and Iranians have learned they need Saudi Arabia, and the Saudis have also learned that any tension in the region would also harm their interests. So I think they've taken a step back, and they're not trying to instigate any conflict with Iran anymore.
But do you think that there are fears that, given Donald Trump's proximity to Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, that he would allow Netanyahu to escalate tensions with Iran?
Absolutely. I think because of his very close relationship with Netanyahu and his lack of strategic vision, he could give a blank check to the Israelis to do whatever they want. The Biden administration was successful in lobbying with the Israelis not to go after Iran's energy sector or the nuclear infrastructure. But my concern is that if Donald Trump comes in, he would just give a blank check to the Israelis. They could go after Iran's, as I said, nuclear infrastructure or energy sector. And I can tell you that the nuclear facilities are Iran's brightest red line. If the Israelis decide to go after those facilities, there's a very good chance that Iran could withdraw from the NPT. It could dash for a bomb, which could actually result in more and further conflict in the region.
We'll see how things pan out. Sina Azodi, thank you so much for joining us on the program today.
Good to be with you.